Imagine it is the night before an election. A video spreads like wildfire across social media. It shows a candidate admitting to corruption, or a president making a shocking foreign policy announcement, or a civil rights leader saying words that betray their own community. News outlets scramble to cover it. Voters erupt in outrage and millions share it before fact-checkers can weigh in. Hours later, experts declare the video fake, generated by artificial intelligence with uncanny precision. But by then, the damage is done. The trust is broken, the narrative has shifted, and the truth no longer matters. The story of democracy has always been a story of trust. Trust in institutions, in leaders, in the information that guides public choice. But as AI becomes both a campaign tool and a disinformation weapon, that trust is under siege. What happens to elections when we can no longer tell what is real? AI's rising role in politics. Artificial intelligence has already woven itself into the fabric of political campaigns. Long before deepfakes captured headlines, AI was helping campaigns micro-target voters with astonishing precision. From analyzing social media behavior to predicting which neighborhoods are most receptive to a message, AI-powered analytics have turned modern campaigning into a science of influence. In some respects, this is not inherently sinister. Political strategists have always sought to know their voters better, to tailor messages, to stretch limited budgets. What AI changes is scale. A candidate today can run thousands of variations of an advertisement simultaneously, each personalized for a micro-demographic, each tested and optimized by machine learning. Messages that once took weeks to design and distribute can now be crafted in seconds by generative AI models. Chatbots have entered the scene as well, serving as tireless volunteers who can answer voter questions day and night, simulate conversations, and persuade undecided voters. These tools blur the line between engagement and manipulation. Voters may believe they are having an authentic exchange of ideas, when in fact they are interacting with an algorithm tuned for persuasion. Deepfakes and synthetic media. The darker side of AI in politics lies in the creation of deepfakes. Hyper-realistic audio, images, and videos generated by machine learning. At their most benign, deepfakes have been used in entertainment and satire. But in the context of elections, they pose an existential threat to truth itself. A deepfake is not merely a lie, it is a lie dressed in the clothing of reality. Unlike rumors or misleading headlines, a deepfake appeals to the very senses we trust most. If you can see it and hear it, surely it must be true. This visceral realism makes deepfakes uniquely dangerous in shaping political narratives. The speed of their spread compounds the danger. A single, manipulated video can reach millions before fact-checkers can respond, and by then, corrections may carry little weight. Studies show that once misinformation is consumed, even retractions cannot fully undo its influence. Deepfakes thus exploit not only technological weaknesses but also human psychology. Historical precedents of disinformation. Disinformation is as old as politics. From forged pamphlets in early modern Europe to Cold War propaganda campaigns, the manipulation of information has long been a weapon of power. What distinguishes today's threat is the ease, scale, and realism afforded by AI. In the past, fabricating evidence required expertise, resources, and time. Forging a photo or editing a video was a craft. Now, with generative AI tools freely available, anyone with a laptop can create convincing fabrications in minutes. The barriers to entry have collapsed, turning disinformation from a state-level weapon into a crowdsourced phenomenon. Moreover, the global information ecosystem is more fragile than ever. Social media platforms amplify sensational content, rewarding outrage and virality. Traditional gatekeepers, newspapers, broadcasters, and regulators struggle to keep pace with the flood of AI-generated noise. This creates fertile ground for AI-driven disinformation to thrive in ways historical propagandists could only dream of. The technology behind deepfakes. At the heart of deepfakes lies a family of algorithms known as generative adversarial networks, GANs, and their successors. These models pit two neural networks against each other, One generates synthetic content, while the other attempts to detect flaws. Over time, the generator improves until its creations become indistinguishable from reality. Advances in voice synthesis, face swapping, and lip syncing have pushed the quality of deepfakes to astonishing levels. What began as glitchy, uncanny imitations has matured into media that can fool even experts without forensic analysis. Open source communities, meanwhile, have accelerated innovation by sharing tools and tutorials freely, making the technology widely accessible. Compounding the issue is the speed at which these creations can be distributed. Platforms like TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube serve as accelerants, spreading synthetic media faster than detection systems can respond. Once a deepfake enters the ecosystem, it can be reshared, remixed, and repurposed endlessly, creating an enduring digital footprint. Elections in the age of AI. The intersection of AI and elections represents a tipping point. In democratic systems, legitimacy depends on informed choice. If voters cannot trust the authenticity of political communication, the entire foundation begins to crumble. Imagine a debate night where AI-generated clips of candidates circulate before the broadcast has even ended. Imagine an election eve when synthetic audio leaks purportedly reveal private conversations, scandals, or betrayals. In tightly contested races, even a small shift in perception can swing the outcome. Beyond individual elections, the broader danger is systemic. If citizens grow accustomed to dismissing everything as potentially fake, cynicism replaces trust. When truth becomes unknowable, the very act of democratic deliberation collapses. Elections cease to be contests of ideas and become battles of perception warfare, mediated by algorithms rather than human judgment. Human psychology and trust. Part of the danger lies not only in the sophistication of AI, but in the vulnerabilities of human cognition. Humans are wired to believe what they see and hear. A realistic video can override skepticism, especially when it confirms existing biases. Cognitive science shows that misinformation, once absorbed, is difficult to dislodge, even when corrected. This creates a perfect storm. AI-generated disinformation exploits both the limitations of technology and the weaknesses of human psychology. Polarization amplifies the effect, as individuals are more likely to believe content that aligns with their political identity. In such an environment, truth becomes secondary to tribal loyalty. Possible safeguards and countermeasures. The fight against AI-driven disinformation will require a multi-pronged approach. Technical solutions, such as watermarking and provenance tracking, aim to authenticate media at the source. Research into deepfake detection is advancing, though it remains a cat-and-mouse game, with generators often outpacing detectors. Platforms play a critical role, though their incentives often favor engagement over integrity. Stronger moderation, rapid response systems, and clear labeling of synthetic media are essential steps, yet these must be balanced against free expression and the risk of overreach. Ultimately, public resilience is key. Media literacy programs that teach citizens how to question and verify content may prove as important as technological fixes. In a world where synthetic media is ubiquitous, skepticism must become a civic skill. Deepfakes and AI-driven disinformation do not merely threaten elections. They threaten the very idea that a shared reality exists on which democracy can function. If citizens cannot agree on what is true, they cannot deliberate, they cannot compromise, and they cannot govern themselves. As we move deeper into the 21st century, the question is no longer whether AI will influence elections. It already does. The question is whether democracies can rise to the challenge, protecting the integrity of choice against the tide of deception. The fate of free societies may depend on how we answer and how quickly we act.